for Misha and Ishan. Very important information to share with you. So, everybody.
And today we are here to present our nonprofit, which is called Limit Digital. And so basically the overall theme that we are trying to spread to you guys is that using too much screen time is not good for you, and the different things that will do to you that we want to stop and try spreading your time doing different activities and doing other things.
So, yeah, as Misha said before, we work to make sure that you guys don't spend too much time on screens because it can be really harmful to you. It can hurt you in ways that you couldn't imagine. So we work towards teaching you guys about it, spreading awareness, and telling you guys the side effects of what too much screen time can do to you. And we use stuff like events, workshops, and social media to help others. So when I say events, I mean stuff like this, coming to the schools, talking to you guys, and just trying to teach you about what can go wrong. We also use social media, so eventually, once you guys have access to all that stuff, Instagram, Facebook, whatnot, maybe your parents have it, but we'll be posting on there trying to just spread the message.
So actually, like she said, it's around 5 to 7 hours a day on the screen is the average.
I'm sure you guys have heard of the term couch potato. When you're sitting on your couch all day watching TV. So you don't want to be like that. You don't want to be, sitting inside all day. You want to be, going out, staying active, staying healthy. Yeah. And also, using the screen too much, it could ruin your sleep cycle. So, how much sleep do you guys get per day? Screen, it can mess up your brain's it can mess up with your sleep schedule of your body. So when you spend too much time on a screen, it could also ruin your chances of getting sleep, which you guys need to grow. So next we're going to talk about mental effects, which is how it can affect your brain. So spending too much time on a screen, it can slow down the development of your brain. So I'm sure you guys know as you get older, your brain develops and grows more, right? So spending too much time on screens can really slow that down and harm it. Also, spending too much time on screens can lower your attention span. How many of you guys have heard of YouTube Shorts? Yeah. So I'm sure basically all of you guys have heard of it, right? It's these 15, 20-second videos you watch on YouTube and then you just scroll. Everyone's been on it, we know. Yeah, but just using YouTube Shorts, it gets you used to only paying attention for 20, 15 seconds and then, finding something new to think about. And that's really harmful because think of it, in school, how long are you guys' classes? 45 minutes about? Yeah? Oh, yeah. Well, I'm sure your guys' classes are longer than, 30 seconds to a minute. So, getting used to only paying attention for 15 seconds can really hurt because you want to pay attention in class, get good grades and all that. So to do that, you need to be able to focus, and getting used to paying attention for 15 seconds doesn't really help. So next we're going to talk about social effects. So this would be talking to other people. So I'm sure you guys know you're able to text people and talk through all these digital chats, right? So if you get so used to that, then it's obviously gonna hurt when you're just trying to talk to your friends face to face, if all you're used to is just talking to them through a screen. You're also more likely to be isolated, be alone, because sitting on a screen all day, in your room by yourself, you don't want to get used to that. You want to get used to being around other kids, having fun and being outgoing. So really using screens too much, it can affect basically the way you live, everything from your body, your mind, to how you interact with other people. So using screens too much is really harmful for you.
Okay. So how can we slow down our screen time. So different ways you can do this is by screen time monitoring, meaning your parents or there's also different apps, and like now there's different apps that you can use to track the amount of time you're using on the screen, or set different limits to how much time you should be using the screen, as well as that doing different activities. Like a lot of you might be involved in sports. Raise your hand if you're involved in sports. Yeah, a lot of you guys are involved in sports, playing games, doing something else that's not related to being on the screen. So doing different things really helps with that, as well as personal growth habits, meaning talking to other people, starting off with screen time monitoring, using different tracking apps. So first of all, we know in our settings app, there's an app that you can use to check how much time you're using on a week-to-week basis as well as day-to-day basis. And this can help see the amount of time you're spending on certain apps, and most of the time those apps do include social medias, and like you guys probably use YouTube a lot, I would assume at your guys' age. And with that, again, like he said, it's not good for the amount of time span you're using these things for. So you can see the different patterns being created from using these things, so you can check it out and see what happens with that. So you can also set different limits for how much you should be using instead. I would say an hour to an hour 30 a day would be useful for doing stuff that you want to do. So as well as, like I said, parent control features to now see what your kids are doing on these devices, because like we know now there's a lot of things on the internet that you probably should not be seeing at your guys' age. So it should be ways so your parents can see what you guys are doing, and it can be monitored.
There's also so many activities you can do to, get yourself away from screens. So first, like mindfulness activities, so like meditation, reading a book. So it can help, calm your mind down and just have a way to like take a break from screens and just, soothe yourself, give your mind a break. So next, there's also like creative hobbies you can do. I'm sure some of you guys like to, paint, play an instrument, cook, or do other stuff that will give you that sense of accomplishment that doesn't require you, straining your eyes or your brain. So there's like so many different alternatives to just playing on an iPad. Yeah, there's also physical hobbies. So I'm sure, as we've seen, most of you guys exercise, play sports, or even just play outside. And stuff that requires you to actually move your body instead of just sitting inside, lying down, and just using a screen. So really trying to like find other ways to distract yourself than like being on your iPad, it's really helpful, and like it can really change your life.
Continuing on to what we said, personal growth habits. So you can check your digital wellness using a checklist, and trying to expand your habits on the screen can also improve your usage on digital technology. As well as continuing on to these things, we know technology does have some good sides as well, but we are again focusing on the bad that it's providing for us. As well as this, goal sets. So make habits of creating realistic goals of how much time you should be using your screen versus how much you shouldn't. So if you think you're using too much, maybe like 2 or 3 hours, try cutting it off each day. So you can set different goals for yourself, so this can personally help you. So as well as this, mindfulness and tech balance. So there are lots of tests online to help you reflect on your relationship with how much technology you're using and how you might need to improve on it. So this meaning like take the test so you can see how much you think you're gonna need it or you don't need it.
So now, let's talk. What do we take away and what do we learn from this? So we learned that setting limits is really good for you. So trying to stop yourself after you've only used like an hour or an hour and a half of screens. Also learning that you should make screen-free zones. Like make times where you're not allowed to use the screen. I would say the best time to not use the screen is right before you go to sleep, so that you're able to get a much better sleep at night. We also learned that you should make sure to prioritize talking to your friends face to face and playing outside instead of just staying on a screen. Because instead of calling your friend, if you could have your parents drop them to your house, then not only will it help your eyes, help your body, but you'll get used to the real world where most of the time you're gonna have to talk face to face, and you'll get into the habit of doing that. You'll also get into the habit of not being a couch potato, living an active lifestyle, and just trying to help yourself because So that's the end of our presentation. But before we leave, any questions? Okay, so before we go, I just wanted to say, obviously, thank you all for being such a wonderful audience, and really, we started this whole nonprofit, Limit Digital. We started it because so many years ago, when we were fourth graders, fifth graders, that wasn't even 5 years ago, and we had these same problems. Me and my sister, I'm pretty sure my dad could say a whole essay about it. We would use our screen so much, and just growing up in these last 5 years, we've learned that it's really harmful. So when we tell you guys all of this, we're saying this from our own personal experience because we don't want other kids to go down the same path that we did. So really, I just want to say thank you guys, and I hope you guys at least learn something from this, and maybe not one or two more. So yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Boys and girls, another round of applause for our presenters. You should stay seated, however. Thank you. Okay, now it's my turn. Your voices are off, and your eyes are up here. Can you circulate? Thank you. All right. My subs in the room, please circulate and make sure all students are listening with their voices off. All right. Let's see which table, thank you for that. Boys and girls, they saw something wrong, something that they wanted to address, something that they felt very passionate about, and they decided to do something about it. They decided to take action. So they started a non-profit, which is like a company. Imagine starting a company at the ages of 14 and 16, right? 14 and 16, so not much older than you. They started a company to educate people about the dangers of too much screen time. They took action. They saw something wrong and they took action. So let's give them another round of applause. And that concludes our presentation, but boys and girls, you're going to be